So welcome back to Decoy Court, where we're doing more r/am I the antagonist, and today's featured post being, am I the antagonist for calling out my boyfriend's duck obsession? So before we get to today's post, let's make sure you guys are joining that Decoy Koi pond by subscribing down below and turning on the notifications, but let's go ahead and jump to the story right now. So OP wrote, my boyfriend, a 27-year-old male, and I, a 23-year-old female, decided to move in together for the quarantine. Everything is going well. We both work from home and have barely left the apartment. We've split the chores, have a cooking schedule that we mostly follow, and even coordinated the alone time with each other. Well, last week, during his alone time, my boyfriend captured 5 of the ducklings that live around our apartment. He claims their mother was nowhere nearby. I have a hard time believing this, but I gave him the benefit of the doubt. When he showed me the ducks, I expressed concern. I told him that ducklings grow fast and will overrun our apartment, plus carry germs. He said that he gave them baths when he brought them in. When I asked to contain them to one area, he refused, saying that they deserve just as much space as us. He said he is welcoming them into our family and will treat them as equals. Apparently this includes turning our heater to 85 degrees. He has also spread old newspapers all over our apartment and put down water dishes that constantly get spilled. I've stepped in their food and more than a few times and have resorted to wearing shoes 24/7 to avoid grain between my toes. I know I should have put my foot down when he first brought them in, but he's been so bored with staying in that I thought it would be okay for him to amuse himself for a while. I figured it wouldn't be long before he released them, but I was wrong. He is attached to the ducklings and has named the ducks to honor their connection to the earth. They are called Twig, Bumble, Seed, Sprout, and Pebble. I call one duck. If I call him one duck, he gets upset and says I'm disrespecting it. When I mix up the names, he gets frustrated, saying I should know that Pebble is mostly brown with a few yellow spots throughout, while Seed is much lighter than the rest, but to me, they all look the same. He's kept his word about cleaning up after the ducks, but our utility bills have gone up from the constant heat and how often he washes blankets. Nowhere is safe from their poop except the closet, and one of the ducks has been poking its head between the accordion doors. It's only a matter of time before they get in by accident. When I pointed this out, he started talking about how proud he was of Bumble for being so smart. This morning, I woke up to one of the ducks on my chest. Apparently, my boyfriend set up a ramp to the bed after I was asleep so that his babies could experience true comfort. I completely exploded. I told him that he's a grown man who has no other hobbies except worshipping poultry that are incapable of caring about him. He told me I was being overdramatic and that he has been on top of caring for the ducks, and I had no room to criticize him for saving innocent ducklings. He's been ignoring me all day, and I overheard him venting to a couple of the ducks about my behavior. I feel bad for exploding on him. The ducks are annoying, but he's right, he's been taking care of them. Am I the antagonist for calling him out? So taking this case and rushing it over to Decoy Court, because this is appropriate, is... Okay, so every now and then when someone gets depressed, they often will latch on to something that may or may not be the most important thing in the world. These ducks right here, I could see that. Ducklings, they're really cute, but they do overgrow their cuteness phase and become kind of aggressive. And also, you can't keep them in an apartment. Eventually, he's going to have to let them go and fly away, because I believe they fly to the equator during the changing of the seasons. I'm not sure. But at least in Los Angeles, if there's ducks out there, they're kind of a protected species where if they decided to, like, lay eggs in your pool and start to raise their ducklings there, you have to give them care and leave them be. But there are like specific rules of like not keeping them as pets. So this is going to come into play at some point in time. He seems like he's kind of getting really involved in these ducklings, and just like any other pet, it would make sense that he's showing his compassionate, sensitive side, so that's a good thing. But also the idea that it's just like they're running up the utility bill, there's grain everywhere, it's gonna start being getting into their closet and probably chewing up their stuff, and I believe they get kind of loud and very messier as they grow up. So I could see why he's kind of overstepping his bounds in the sense of like, hey, she didn't sign up to raise ducks inside a house, they need to be moved on. OP says they probably should have put their foot down sooner, which they should have, but just the simple fact that it's starting to become an issue where she's kind of blowing up. Like, yes, she should have said, hey, look, the extra heating bill's too much, the food on the ground's too much, putting, like, having good communication. The simple fact that at some point in time, OP just explodes and says, you're a grown man and you're worshipping poultry. Like, that's messed up. The whole worshipping poultry is a messed up thing, because I couldn't imagine, like, if I'm really into my cat and then my significant other came through and says, you're worshipping this little animal that doesn't care about you, that couldn't pull your body from a burning building if you tried, that just poops in a box in your closet. Like, how, you know, like if they chastise me for my care for my cat, I could see that being a major issue. So this right here was kind of a thing. The sad part is when he goes and says, "Oh, I'm gonna go vent to the ducks." Like, I don't know. I've been bitten by a duck before. Somebody's domesticated duck that lived in their pool, and I just thought it was, oh, look at this duck, and then he bit my foot, and I was like, oh my god, this is like a vicious animal. Could you imagine having, you know, like 5 ducks all with names that can that have learned to love and accept OP's boyfriend, and now the boyfriend is venting to the ducks, and the ducks are just becoming inundated with just anti-OP propaganda, where now they really like, oh yeah, if OP gets their way, we're all getting sent to the equator, and we don't know what's down there. But if we get rid of OP, we can stay here forever with boyfriend, and boyfriend's been great to us. Boyfriend is a provider. Boyfriend is our person, and now we have a Jim Jones duck type situation. I could see OP's kind of getting in the wrong way. So with the Decoy Court being that absurd, the decoy defense, I mean, how do we make it more absurd? Is the idea that maybe OP is the reason that these ducks are orphan ducks. Like the simple fact where she just saying like, oh yes, he says the mommy duck was nowhere to be found, but I find that hard to believe. Well, I mean, that's almost like when the police are investigating a crime scene and they're like, okay, well, we don't know where the mother is, and then OP just blurts out like, oh yeah, well, I mean, it's not like she would stab herself, and they're like saying, hey, nobody here said the duck mom gets stabbed. How do you know more information about the crime than we know right now? And she kind of incriminates herself. She's kind of incriminating herself in this story over here by already admitting she knows that the mother's nowhere to be found in this kind of bizarre, like, I find that hard to believe, but you know, I don't know why they'd be missing. No one said the mommy duck was missing. So the reason these ducks are being raised by the boyfriend is because OP had already eaten the mom duck, and the OP was planning on eating. I know that, like, duck, sad to say, is pretty delicious. It's like, it's very fatty and tender. So I mean, if you haven't had duck before and you're kind of afraid of it because, you know, you grew up on seeing Donald Duck and he was a lovable character, and you saw the Mighty Ducks and they're lovable mascots, and just like, you know, ducks seem cool, but duck is delicious. How do I get in this conversation? So ducks are delicious, and maybe with the same way the cow beef is delicious, veal, like a baby cow, it's even more delicious. And OP was just like, yo, I sent away the mom duck, I paid her off, I sent her over to Atlantic City with, like, you know, a roll of quarters. She's good right now. I'm gonna have some delicious 5 duck veal, or whatever you would even call that. I don't even know. But aside from that, yes, I could see that why that would make OP the antagonist, because they set this up, and now just because her boyfriend's compassionate, how the heck did we get here? So, okay, so past the Decoy Court, past the decoy defense, my actual official judgment is, yeah, everyone kind of sucks here, because OP should know better. You can't really be having ducks as pets indoor like that. Eventually you have to set them free once they're past that, like, you know, that if they're mallard ducks, they're past that little yellow duck phase, and they become either, like, you know, the brown female duck, or like that duck that has the green head, the boy duck. Once they get to that phase, they kind of gotta go, and it seems to say that if the duck can weasel his way inside the closet, they're probably full-grown ducks at that point in time. So I'm saying OP's boyfriend sucks because he should have let those ducks go, but OP also sucks for letting this boil over and starting to, like, berate him for just being, what I say is, a compassionate person. He likes the ducks, they're his babies, but he's gotta let them go. But let's take a short break right now, and just on a scale 1 to 10, how insane has the Decoy Court and decoy defense become? Because I don't even know where I'm at right now. My stories are just I don't even know anymore. So take a short break, let me know how insane I've gotten, and also just let's go to the top comments. So the top comment is, not the antagonist. In fact, I think you're a saint for tolerating this as long as you have. It sounds like your boyfriend is not coping well with being cooped up. Heh, very well. These ducks are wild animals. It's cruel to you and the ducks to remove them from their natural environment, and probably a violation of your lease. I understand with the lockdown that makes things difficult, but you're entirely reasonable to put your foot down on this. And I would say it's reasonable for her to put her foot down and say, okay, no more ducks, they gotta go. But the whole, like, berating him like you're worshipping poultry, that's a little bit like, those are just fighting words. That's not like, you know, sitting down with a cool, calm head and conversation saying, you gotta let these animals go. Chances are they're gonna come back, and it'll be amazing. They're gonna fly away to the equator. They're gonna spend some time over in Brazil and Argentina. They're gonna come back. There'll be souvenirs, and they'll recognize you. They'll be full grown. They'll have a wife and a husband of their own, and it's going to be an amazing thing. Like, you know, she should have a cool head conversation, not the "can't believe you do that, boy, all the ducks look the same and I don't know his name from that," and you're just being mean about it. So yeah, it's am I the antagonist? I think they're both were kind of the antagonists that way, but let's say that's the prosecution. Let's go ahead and look at the defense of the controversial comments, which -2 points is, this is tough. I'm going to go with no antagonist here. He loves the ducks, you don't. Have you thought about rehoming the ducks to a ranch or farm and looking into adopting an adult cat that needs a good home? I like that. I like that. The idea where, you know, is there a better home for the ducks? And I imagine that if they're full grown and they're just baby ducks, eventually they're going to know to like fly off just by instinct, I think. And, you know, they can just set the ducks free. And I like the idea. Can you adopt an adult cat that needs a good home? Any single Petco or animal shelter has cats that would love to spend their twilight years in the nice home. And it seems like OP's boyfriend is a very giving, caring person that would want to spend a lot of time with a cat or an animal that he needs to take care of, and this would probably be the best outcome. They say no antagonist here, I guess because they're compassionate for it, but I would say everyone kind of sucks on some level with this situation. But then the adult cat thing, I think that's the best option in all. So I mean, I still stick with my original everyone sucks here, but I do understand the no antagonist here. I would change my answer from everyone sucks here to no antagonist here if they took all of this extra free time and energy and effort into an adult cat, or a older dog that needs a home, just because he has that mommy gene. He wants to take care of stuff and everything. So I mean, that's a good thing. So I mean, that was my opinion about it. I feel like the Decoy Court kind of got weird, but that's honestly how I feel about it. The Decoy defense is always supposed to be funny and entertaining, but I mean, maybe as I do the thumbnails more in a versus battle type of thing, it'll be more fun. So as always, if you made it this far in the video, I want to appreciate you hanging out with me as long as you have. Please push that like button, please push the share button, send it to one of your friends that may or may not like my content style, and also just push autoplay so you can watch the next episode of DecoyNoise coming up next. Or just click that link over there to just prove to Google that I'm worth watching.